Hello, once again, welcome to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merck Zone, Mike Merkel.
I'm right here.
Conspicuous by her absence once again, the brand Emily Merkel. She's out doing some wedding stuff today, so unfortunately she gets to miss out on all this great content, but you don't have to. So remember to like and subscribe to all of our streaming services everywhere that you like to listen to us, as well as on YouTube, which is live every Monday and Wednesday, respectively. And, Mike, I brought the camera today. I actually managed to do it. I remembered.
Wait, you didn't forget it?
I didn't forget it. No, I didn't forget it.
So they
We're
can
back.
actually,
They can see us now. They can see us.
Wow.
I know. You're welcome. So we've got so much to go over. We're not talking any of the wrestling stuff. We're not talking WrestleMania, NXT, or the G1 Supercard on this episode because by the time you guys are hearing this, it'll have already happened. While we're recording it, none of it's happened. So just bear with us, and we'll go over it the next week. Lots of stuff to go over there. What we are going to hit on, though, we're going to hit on Bob Quinn, his comments about his draft strategy. We're obviously have another one of the Merck Zone Mock Draft Corner episodes. We're going to be talking wings. We've got the Michigan State Final Four run. And then we're also going to hit on some wrestling stuff. We're going to hit on the John Oliver comments that just happened. A lot of stuff to go over today. So let's just jump right into it. Bob Quinn was on Ian Rappaport's podcast, right? It wasn't on ours. How dare he, right?
Yeah.
First off, how dare he?
I can't believe it.
I know. He's a traitor. I tried calling him. I texted him, Bob Quinn at DetroitLions.com, and he didn't respond. He didn't answer.
That's unfortunate.
But he basically said that coming out straight out away, he likes the picks, right? And he likes being able to trade back. They've never actually done it, weirdly enough, but he said now for the second consecutive year that he does want to trade back if possible. Do you think, what do you find in that, right? Is that true, or because this is the time in the season where everybody's just saying everything, right? Mm-hmm. They love everybody, they hate everybody, they're not interested, they are interested, they want to trade out, they want to trade down. Do you think this is an actual, no, seriously, we're open for business, we want people to call us because we would really like to move down?
I actually do think there's a big possibility it could happen.
Yeah.
Reason being is what you're really looking for is, at least in the first round, is probably a big defensive pick.
Right.
And the depth of defense that you have in this draft really helps out with wanting to move down.
And that's what he said too, right? Is that between rounds 1 and 3, there's a lot of depth, a lot of talent in general in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah. So if you think someone like Greedy Williams is going to be there at 20,
mm-hmm.
then maybe you trade down a couple spots and get him at more closer to the value that you want him at. Mm-hmm. Or if you're looking for someone like Montez Sweat and you're going through and he's projected to be 25, 26, right. Then you're looking, okay, maybe I can go down to 24, 23, mm-hmm. get 3 more draft picks there, right. for trading to the number 1 for the number 8 pick, right. And then I could pick him plus maybe get another first round or maybe get another guy in the second round to help fill out the roster a little bit. Because I think we're not in a situation where you're not in need of that big name guy, really. You're not needing a quarterback, or you don't need your number 1 receiver or anything. You just kind of need more depth pieces.
Right. Yeah. You need pluggable. You need contributors is what you need. Right.
Because since you did get someone like Trey Flowers, you're not even in need for an edge rusher. Mm-mm. You have Jerry Davis. You don't need that middle linebacker. Mm-hmm. You have Darius Slay. You don't need that position.
Yeah. You don't need a QB1, right?
Yeah. You don't need the quarterback 1. You got Carrion. You got Galladay and Marvin. You have all these pieces that are around. Mm-hmm. Now you're just kind of this draft is more of just filling out the roster and adding extra pieces to help you get farther.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So I think if you're able to trade down and get picks,
right, absolutely. I'm totally in agreement with you. I mean, the problem I think that some fans are having, I don't think anybody would be necessarily mad about, if they trade down. I'm going to ask you how far you want to trade down here in a second if you're Bob Quinn. But as a fan, though, do you care at all that he is coming out and saying that, hey, I want to trade down? Do you have an issue with him, quote unquote, revealing some of their draft strategy based off, because basically what Bob Quinn's saying is look, we've only got 2 picks in the first 80, right? There's a lot of depth in this draft. There's a lot of good players in the first 3 rounds, and if we can get an extra pick or 2 within those first 3 rounds by trading back, that we want to take advantage of that. Yeah. But do you have a problem if you're a fan hearing that and going, well, why would you say that? Now, this is that, and are you actually benefiting at all from coming out and saying this, or is it more
No, because for me as a big Lions fan, I think you're in the situation where you're almost in a win-win either way. Because if you keep your pick at 8, you're getting besides the top 5 guys, you're not getting a Josh Allen or you're not getting a Bosa. You're not getting a Bosa or something. But besides, you could get someone like an Ed Oliver, or you can get a big game-changing player at 8. And then, as you say, well, I kind of want to trade down. Now you're leaving the doors open for other teams to be like, well,
Okay,
how about
they're
we get,
looking right.
we'll give you a first and a second this year for your number 8 pick. Okay, cool. So now I have an extra first,
Right.
and now a second round pick.
Right.
Now you have 4 picks in the first round, basically, or whatever. So now,
Yeah, depending on where you move and
So I think
everything
no
else,
matter
right.
what, you're as a Lions fan, you're looking at a win-win because in one scenario, you're getting the number 8 pick in the draft, which is a top 10, meaning you're getting that big, impactful player. Or on the other hand, you're trading down and possibly getting 2 to 3 more picks,
Right.
which gives you more depth and more possibilities
Does
to
it
land that star guy.
matter for you at all? So let's just say they stay there, right?
Okay.
Would it frustrate you at all if, like, so 7th pick goes, it's whoever, 8th pick Lions are on the clock? Would it make you upset knowing what you're hearing from him now to be able to go and say? Would it make you upset to say, all right, well, the pick is in 2 minutes into their clock? Would you prefer to see them, like, wait until, all right, there's 30 seconds left on our clock before the pick has to be submitted to the league, where at least you're giving it the most amount of time possible for a trade to possibly happen for them to maybe move back, rather than what they've done in past years where, oh, the Lions definitely should move back, and then the pick is in within 3 minutes, right? Like the Ebron thing, right? Everyone thought, okay, Barr went, Gilbert went, all right, maybe there's a chance that the Lions could try to trade down, and then the pick was in within a minute and a half of.
Well, I think there's
their
one
time.
thing is you don't really know what they're talking, so maybe there's not even a possibility to move down.
Right.
Like maybe they've talked to people and they're like, yeah, we're not moving down at all. So then, I feel like if there's no possibility of you moving down, and then reports after will say that there's a possibility or
Of
whatever.
course, yeah,
Like they always do.
Always is.
But if realistically, if you're in that room and only they know, but there's no possibility, I want that pick to come in fast because then you're like, yep, that's my guy.
Right.
Like you didn't have to like, oh, do I want Ed Oliver? Do I want Devin? Who do I want? Like you're like, this is my guy. This is the guy I wanted.
Okay.
So you feel more
That's a
confident.
different approach, because a lot of people have been on the other side where they're like, no, I want to wait for as long as possible just in case, right?
Well, I think that if you wait as long as possible, you're waiting for someone to call you, but then you're 30 seconds left, no one's calling you. Then as a fan,
Yeah, right.
and especially afterwards, if you're like, yeah, no one called them or anything, they just waited, that means you're deciding between like two, three people,
Right.
and now you're like, you're not confident in that, pick.
Right.
I want
That's
that pick.
a great take.
If it comes out that no one wanted to trade with them, I want that pick to be a minute or two in, because then you're like, yep, Ed Oliver, that was my guy, I want him at number 8, and then you feel more confident as a fan going, okay, then they believe in Ed Oliver, so he should be doing good things.
Right. So now put yourself in Bob Quinn's shoes here. I'm whoever. I'm Cincinnati, I'm Miami, I'm New England, I'm whoever, right?
Yeah.
I'm calling you. What's it gonna take? First off, give me how far would you be willing to move down? Right, based off your evaluation of this first round talent, right? And who you like in this draft. It's well known who I like in this draft, but
Yes.
I mean, from your perspective, based off of the depth at positions, right, where you think they could probably go, along with, all right, you want to trade down, where are you moving down to where you still think you can get your guy, and what's the compensation going to be, right? Because obviously, if you're moving down 4 spots, you're not getting a number 1 and a number 2. But if you move from 8 to 25, okay, I need your 1 this year, I'm probably going to need your 2, and then something the year after that.
Yeah. Well, okay, this was actually talked about on a 97.1, the ticket show I was listening to about a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to ask you first, I guess.
Yeah.
So what would your opinion be? You probably want more than what I'm going to offer out, but what if the Raiders offered up their number 24 and number 27 pick for this year's 8 pick? Would that be something you would do?
Yeah.
Now, including like maybe they add in like a third next year or something. Like
if I got something afterwards, yes.
But like if you get those two, like
yes, because then I think you can get somebody. I think then by trading down, you're still within the first round. You've picked within that range before. I probably would. If you're giving me 24,
and
I'm
27.
getting 27. I still have my pick later in the second round.
Yeah.
I don't. And if I could get something to kind of make it really nice for me the following year, a 4th or something, I probably would do that just because. Like that said, there's a lot of pieces where I think you can get a Brian Burns at 24. I really do. I think you can get a good linebacker there, right? Or whatever the pick is at that point. You can take the best receiver. It maybe changes your board a little bit. But yes, I would say yes, I would.
Because I think if I was them, unless someone like the Redskins at 15 are trying to move up.
I think
then,
that's where Lions fans are at for the most part, is in that 11 to 15, 16 range where there's a couple quarterback needy teams. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Is that how far you'd be willing to move back, or do you want to go back to the 20s?
I guess it all depends on the compensation that you get for it. I would move back as far as the Raiders. If you got the Raiders 24-27, I would go that far back to get those two. Because I feel like at that depth, you get 2 first-round picks instead of just the one. Even though the one could be like Ed Oliver, and the 2, but we've been doing these mock drafts for about 2 months now.
Right.
You've seen guys like Greedy Williams dropping to 20-something.
Right. There's a lot of people that are a lot of different places.
And
based
if you're
off their
picking
evaluation.
24 and you're picking T.J. Hawkinson at 24 or Noah Fant at 24,
you get Fant at 24, and then your best defense player at 27.
Then that's making Lions fans very happy at that point. But if you're just getting that one pick, I would say probably the lowest I would go is about 14, 15.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go to like 18, but only get that one pick.
Right. So if you're the Raiders and Raiders call, hey, we're going to be 24, 27, and then a sweetener later round pick for 2020, you'd be okay with that. But if you're getting, so let's just say I'm willing to offer you, right? So I think if you're moving 4 or 5 spots back, I think that's the sweet spot for many Lions fans, right? Where you're hoping a quarterback falls.
Yes.
And somebody falls in love with one, whether it's Miami, Cincinnati, whoever, right? They fall in love with a quarterback. You're able to trade down.
I think just to note, this draft that we're about to do in the next segment is gonna entice what we're talking about right now. But I do agree with that. If a quarterback, say like Dwayne Haskins or someone, starts falling down, and for some reason like the Giants,
if Washington calls you right now at 15, what is it going to take for them to for you to swap picks with them? So what do they need to give you? So they're number 1, obviously. So 15 overall this year.
So you get 15.
Yeah.
Maybe like a second or third, depending on how. But then it depends, because I would need like a 2020 like third, I think.
Right.
Because you need a lot. Because the 8 pick is a big pick.
Right. It's top 10. You're moving up. Yeah. You're moving up 7 spots.
You're literally, the Redskins are getting their guy, and we're not getting our guy anymore. So that means you have to give me basically 3 guys. I feel like for that one guy that you're giving you. So I'm thinking. So
if I give you I give you my first, right, my 3rd overall this year, my third round overall
and then
next
say
year,
like 3rd or 4th the year after.
Yeah.
I'd probably very consider doing it.
Yeah.
But I think the big one is that Raiders one. If they're calling, because then you can have a number 4 and they have the number 8 pick. That's very tempting for them, because they still get 2 picks instead of 3. They get 2
and then you still have your 2nd round pick coming up right after that.
So basically in the top 2 rounds, you're picking 3 guys.
Yeah, I think
that's a nice.
It could be very interesting to see. Obviously, the Lions, just based off of what they did last year in the draft, trading up, trading down, and kind of that stuff. So it's a little bit interesting to see. The draft is a couple weeks away, so I could be more excited. Speaking of the draft, though, and mock drafts, I know you have another mock draft.
We do.
So we're going to hit the Merksville mock draft corner at the beginning of this show. Usually we do it in the middle. We're going to hit it right now before our commercial break. So let's go, Mike. Give me who this draft is by. And the website or wherever you're finding this.
So we're doing the Walter Football updated mock draft.
Okay.
It was updated April 3rd.
Okay, so a few days ago.
And today's April 6th, Saturday, so it was updated 3 days ago. So I find that to be very updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Usually they're like a week or 2 behind, but this week it's 3 days. So I'm like, all right, this is the most up-to-date we've had probably in a while.
All right, let's do this thing.
So, like usual, how we've been doing the last 3 weeks, I'm just going to go through the top 7.
Yep.
Rob's going to guess.
Hopefully
and I'm gonna tell you yes or no.
Yep.
And I'll tell you who it is, and then we're just going to give out the big names.
For sure.
All right, so number 1, and it doesn't look like there's any trades. We're just going to go off base order as of right now. So, number 1, Arizona is picking, and they will pick
Kyler Murray.
And that is correct.
Yeah,
they will be picking Kyler Murray.
Really interested to see how that Josh Rosen thing breaks down now. It's going to be interesting.
We'll
definitely cover that in detail when the compensation comes in for what people are giving.
I feel like you could probably a decent amount for Rosen, especially if the Patriots are going to be calling or something. I feel like that's like.
If I'm the Patriots, I feel like I could give up 32.
32 and maybe something else for it or something. And
I'll
that's
give you 32.
That's such a nice, especially because they have 11 picks or something.
Like, the Cardinals, you're back to back, and then you have 32, and then you have the first overall pick.
So
the following. So you got.
That's a nice little.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
So anyway, we got San Francisco picking 2nd, and they will pick. They do not pick Bosa.
Really?
They do D-line. They go Quinnen Williams.
Oh, really?
Defensive tackle out of Alabama.
Yeah, they're confusing. I still don't know what the 49ers are going to do. I'm taking Bosa. I don't care who I am, right? And honestly, I'm looking at moving Solomon Thomas at that point. Because if you think Bosa is going to be the real deal, then you can trade Solomon Thomas and get something back for him. Somebody thinks they can fix him because he's early, and he's cheap still. You know what I mean?
This website says that since they got D Ford, that they're getting the defensive tackle because D Ford can kind of play a 3-4 spot kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
So they don't need because Bosa's more the edge rusher kind of guy.
Right,
so you're getting the defensive tackle.
Yeah.
So
then the Jets are thrilled then because Bosa just fell to them.
Bosa just fell to number 3 for them.
Jets, if that happens, Jets are looking really pretty going in this year. Darnold's second year, Gase coming in. You know, you got Mosley, Le'Veon Bell. You got some receivers there now.
I expect the Jets get like second and third round. They get like one of the bigger name receivers, and then they're really going to be set.
Yeah,
especially once I think the Patriots once they lose Brady in a couple years and Belichick's probably going to be gone sooner. Then I think the Jets are going to start taking over that division quite soon.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. Yeah. So now we got number 4. The Oakland Raiders are picking.
They get Allen.
Yep, they picked Josh Allen.
Yeah, see, that's the amazing thing about this draft, guys, is that one pick that's somewhat kind of out of the logic of what people think is going to happen totally shifts everybody else down, and it helps people a ton, you know, because then you're all like, oh my gosh, Josh Allen's fell to us at 4. Not that Quinnen Williams is a bad pick at 2, but I'm just saying, if you think Bosa's the man, and he's supposed to be what his brother is, if not better, you just passed up on 12 sacks a year.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to say the least.
All right, so now Tampa Bay's picking at 5, and they pick?
I'm going to say Devin White.
They do not pick Devin White.
Great.
They pick Montez Sweat out of Mississippi State.
I don't think that's going to be the pick. No. I like Montez Sweat. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be surprised if he goes in the top 10.
And here's the interesting thing, because the last draft that Walter Football did, Josh Allen was going 5.
Right.
Because they had Dwayne Haskins going a little higher to the Raiders because they thought Derek Carr would get left or something. So now I think they're still getting their defensive end outside linebacker.
Right.
But it's not Josh Allen now that you're looking at Sweat.
Yeah,
that's speed and everything.
I don't necessarily agree with that assessment. But now, nonetheless.
This next pick, New York Giants, who you got?
Haskins.
They do not pick Haskins.
What? All right, then get him fired then. That's the stupidest thing. Who are they taking?
They're taking
Rashawn Gary? What are the odds that somebody says they take that? That's fantastic. I'm like, what's the stupidest pick they can make there? Rashawn Gary.
Yeah.
That makes...
they say it's basically because Eli's projected... They're going to keep Eli there for another year.
Who
so they're
cares?
Going to quarterback the next year.
What? No, why? But so... That doesn't make any sense, though. Like, if you think Haskins is the guy, then you take your guy. You don't know... What's coming out next year?
Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying, is that if you think, unless you're committed to going 1-15 next year and hoping you're going to suck, right, then there's no way you can pass up a quarterback. You did it last year, and look how the Jets look now. Yeah. If this is the draft that happens, the Jets are, they're going to be heavy wild card favorites next year for the AFC. So with that in mind, and you're not going to take a quarterback again for the second year in a row, instead you're going to take a defensive tackle / DN who underproduced, who's just a name at the end of the day, and isn't going to be a difference maker for you. Absolutely asinine. But go ahead, G-Man. Hey, that's great for the Lions because that means Haskins falls. Haskins falling. Jacksonville may not take him. Yeah. I don't know.
With Foles there, but that's what I'm saying though. How we were talking about earlier.
Right. If that happens, that's a dream scenario for Detroit.
Because that's teams like the Redskins.
You're just hoping.
Now everyone's
you're really hoping Jacksonville is in love with another guy, whether it's an offensive lineman or something, because then it's really the onus is on you. Because Jacksonville theoretically could still take a quarterback. I don't think they do, based off of the investment that they just made in Foles, but at the same time, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, they took a quarterback. It's more like, maybe they need some insurance.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. The Jacksonville does not take.
So they're going to go offensive tackle. They're going to go Juwan Taylor.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that's right. That's been one of the guys. It's like Tyron Smith to the Cowboys a few years ago. It's kind of like the one pick for a lot. It's always there, right?
Basically they spent big money on Foles. There's no reason to get the quarterback this year.
Yeah, right. So we're at 8 then.
So now we're picking 8.
Oh, we're loving this because someone's got to be trying to go get Haskins at this point. Someone's got to be.
Yeah, because the teams under us. To give a little bit of a spoiler, Denver's picking a quarterback. Cincinnati's looking. You got Miami, who just got theirs or whatever.
Right.
But then you got Washington at 15. You have all these teams that are just man, Haskins is at 8 now. And
Right,
you can
exactly.
Go up and get
You can
him.
totally go get him. If you really want him, you can go get him.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where
So we're not trading out, though, right, in this
Nope,
pick.
so we were picking number 8.
I'd be really bummed out if this happens and we don't trade out of that. I feel like you could definitely
Yeah,
get
I
some
feel like this is
value
a
here.
big... Now, in this scenario, I'd be cool waiting till the 30-second mark, because then you're assuming people
Right,
are
exactly.
calling.
Somebody's trying to put together the best. If
But
I'm Detroit, I'm saying give me your best offer
Yeah.
right away. I
Because
want
if
the best offer.
Haskins is going 6, then I'm like, I want that pick to be right away.
Right.
Because then I'm like, no one's going to be calling
Unless somebody
you.
falls in love with Drew Lock or Daniel
Yeah.
Jones or something like that. It's very interesting to see, though, how these, like I said, it's one pick, man, transcends everything.
Literally.
You know what I mean? So, and people, I think, are learning from the Mahomes thing where it's like, oh, geez, we got to go get our guy. So I'm going to say they take Devin White, even though I don't want them
The
to.
Lions do pick Devin White.
Yeah, I
number
kind of
8.
figured. All right.
Yeah.
All right, give me the second round.
Okay.
Where does Haskins go, just so I know?
Haskins goes to number 11 to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, they're
Yep.
thrilled with that.
And it's
if he
interesting-
falls to 11, Cincinnati gets a steal.
You know what the best part is? Denver at number 10 picks Drew Lock.
That's a John Elway pick. It's because John Elway wants the strong-armed,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
the cannon arm. And it's he wants Flacco 2.0, but
Yeah.
whatever. All right, give me second round. Let's see.
All right. Just some notable picks.
Yeah.
Steelers get Devin Bush. We've almost said on every single one.
Yeah.
Noah Fant goes to Seattle, and T.J. Hawkinson hasn't been picked yet.
What?
Nope.
Wow. All right.
Paris Campbell goes to Baltimore, and not DK Metcalf.
Wow. All right.
That's a bigger
I thought
one.
that's a bit of a change there.
Yep.
That really bummed me out.
DK Metcalf does not go in the first round. Does that shock you at
A
all?
little bit, yeah. I thought he would be maybe the sizzle from the combine is kind of dampening, and they're looking back at tape again. I'm not sure. But
Maybe.
jeez, that's a lot of man.
So in the second round, Will Greer goes to the Oakland Raiders at pick 35.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gruden. Whatever, you weirdo. But all right. I don't know what to say to that.
So now the Lions are picking number 43. Where do you think they go? Do you have any ideas? Any thoughts?
I'm going to say they're going to have to go offense here. I'm going to
Okay.
hope that you said that is Metcalf still on the board?
No, he went early second round.
Okay. Paris Campbell's gone. I'm going to say they take Irv Smith Jr., tight end out of Alabama.
Unfortunately for you, they don't take Irv Smith Jr. They actually go defense in this part. They will pick, all you state fans out there will like this, I guess, Justin Lane, cornerback out of Michigan State.
He's a guy that's been mocked to them quite a bit in some of other mock drafts, maybe that we haven't hit on specifically, but doesn't surprise me necessarily. But I really don't. You have to go offense at least one time in the first 3 rounds. You spent all this money defensively. You can't go defense back to back first and second round. If they take offense for whatever reason, right? They go offense. Something happens where all of their guys are off the board, and they trade down and they take the best receiver, tight end, whatever, on at 8 or 15, wherever they're at in the first round. Then I'm fine with whatever they do in the second round being defense. But you just took your defensive player in the first round. You need to take the best offensive player you think is on the board at that pick. But all right, whatever.
And just a big note, the
Annoys me.
Patriots find the replacement for Gronk and pick Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah, see,
10.
once again, that's the point though, right? Is that the best franchise ever is going to take the guy that I want to take in the second round based off of how the board falls, right?
Yep.
And let him go be your playmaking tight end. Whatever though. It's whatever.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what I'm talking about. The Patriots, dude, they just picked him. God, that's so stupid. I guarantee if like Hawkinson falls to 32 and he's going to be like the greatest thing ever, we'll never live it down. We don't take him at 8, and it's a lose-lose. All right, give me third round.
So third round, Chase Winovich goes to the Niners early in the third round.
Sure, just get all the pass rushers.
Yep. So we're looking. Where do you think they go in the third round then? After the first
Offense, for the love of all that is holy. What the best receiver? I want them to go wide receiver. That's what I
Okay.
want.
Well, they do go wide receiver.
Okay,
here.
who do they
This
go?
I don't know if this will make you happy that they go here.
Yeah.
So they will pick J.J. Whiteside, wide receiver out of Stanford. He has some speed concerns, but he's a mismatch with great size at 6'3", 225.
Nope, I don't want it then. No, because you have Galladay, you have Marvin. That doesn't make any sense for me. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't. That's not. If you're gonna go receiver, that's not the way you go for wide receiver. You don't have a slot after this year. Danny Amendola is not a long-term solution. I hate this draft.
Yep.
I'm so mad.
And it's cool because
so
someone like Riley Ridley, who
Yeah.
is someone that could fit that, goes after.
Of course, right. That's what I'm saying. That's why what I'm saying is I do think there's a pretty steep drop off between like the first 3-4 wide receivers. There's a kind of a big drop off there after that.
Yeah.
So if you get your best defense player and the tight end situation, you like a guy maybe later on, 3rd, 4th round, that's cool. I'm fine with that. I'd rather them address the wide receiver position before they address the tight end position, the way it's looking right now, because you always are in 3 wide receiver sets now. You need the slot guy for Stafford. It's how it works. Mm-hmm. So to completely blatantly ignore that, because that kid's never going to see the field.
No.
Unless somebody gets hurt. That doesn't help me at all. It doesn't make any sense. I'm grumpy, guys. I'm grumpy already. Jeez, good thing we're going to break here in a second. But, all right, that's going to be it for part 1 of episode 19. Mike with that always great mock draft, as always. I'd be really bummed. I'll be coming on the air the following weekend just to tell my frustration if that's how the draft winds up falling. But that's going to be it for part 1 of episode 19. Please stay tuned for our quick commercial here, kind of plug in all of our where you can find us and all that good stuff. We'll be right back after these words. Stick around.
Hey guys, this is the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka from the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Just reminding you that we are live every single Monday at 7 in the morning on your favorite streaming services. All 5 major sports: football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and professional wrestling. I'm Always Right Sports Podcast every Monday, 7 a.m. See you there.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of episode 19 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. All right, let's jump into some Wings talk here.
Sweet.
Red Wings extend Jeff Blashill for 2 seasons. I mean, what do you make of that? I'm very. It's funny to me. Their explanation was, okay, well, they can't give him a 1-year deal because then he has no credibility in the locker room. I'm like, what credibility does he have now? But that's beside the point. But absolutely. I guess my point being is 2 years doesn't shock me. That's a very short term. Yeah. I think it's setting up for Stevie Y to come in and then can make his own call on Blashill. You know what I mean? It's enough to where you escape the credibility factor, whatever the hell that is. But then at the same time, you also are able to kind of be like, all right, you got a very short window here. You better turn it around within the next year or so. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's kind of... Give me what your take is on Blashill kind of getting extended here.
I mean, it's nice. I mean, what we've been seeing from the Wings in the past month-ish time, it's kind of nice to see them come out and win some games. Fans are more happy that we're actually winning down the stretch.
Right.
But the only problem is we're out of the playoffs anyway, so
yeah, that's another thing, right? And that's another thing too, right? We've seen some improvement, right? Some guys are playing really well. Bertuzzi's playing out of his mind right now. Mantha had a stretch of games that they won 8 out of the last 10 or so as of this recording, but yet. They won. Are you happy that they're winning? I know some fans are happy. Others, though, are pissed because now you're ruining your puck. Now, granted, it's not like the NFL where you just have the worst record, you get the best pick, right? It's still that lottery thing, which is dumb, but it is what it is. I hate that. But point being, you were having a good chance of being a top 5 pick or getting the top pick, and now you're slowly, but I wouldn't say you're rooting that, but. Your chances are diminished quite a bit here now by doing that. Are you happy with the fact that they're winning? Are you more happy with the fact that some of these young guys are kind of stepping up rather than having that top pick?
Well, okay, and here's the annoying part about some of Detroit's teams as a whole. Mm-hmm. We can even bring this to the Lions and even the Tigers.
Yeah.
Say like the Lions this year. You're sitting there and you're out of the playoffs, and yet now you're going to win games down the stretch. And you move down in order. Yeah, we beat Green Bay 31-0. That's awesome. But now you go from 5 to 8, and now instead of getting someone like Josh Allen, now you're looking at other. You have to find that other guy that you're trying to get to. The Red Wings, you have I think up to an 18% chance if you're the last team.
Right.
If you have the worst record.
Right.
But now since they're moving up and up and up, their chances going from 18% or 20%, whatever it is, to 15 to 12. Now I think they're sitting at a 6% chance at getting the top pick.
Right.
And this team is not good enough to where next year, if you get the 6th overall pick, you're not going to get that guy to help get this team better.
No, of course.
You're just getting that average Joe guy to come and you have to develop him.
Falls, right?
Yeah, you have to develop him for 3 years before you're good again.
I think I think it's tough because as a Wings fan, you're used to winning, right? That's first and foremost. But now, I think that fans are kind of split because you have to deal with, yes, I want to win, but now that we're so far out of it, it's like, well, where the hell was this 3 months ago? You know what I mean? But now it's like, what do you do?
It's also coming off the end of these last 10 games when you're playing teams that either are already clinched in the playoffs, so they're not trying as hard as they were, say, the first month of the season, or you're playing teams that are in your situation that want to lose.
Yeah, they're like, that's fine.
And they're like, you want to win 6-1? That's fine, because we don't want to win 6-1.
Yeah, right.
So, and get all those points and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, we don't want that. So you're playing those types of teams. There's no teams that you're playing that, like, it's actually a competitive level that, wow, you beat this team because you're actually better. I feel like
Right.
you're beating teams because of those two reasons I mentioned.
Right.
And in the long term, that doesn't make you that much better. Like, hey, we can go beat Green Bay 31-0, but in the last game of the season, that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not as impactful as it was week 5 when we beat them or something.
I
Where
agree
it
with
actually
you,
makes
yeah.
sense.
I think it's really difficult, like you said. It's not. I think if they were locked in, right, and they were terrible, and they were already in last place, and it just we were guaranteed the top spot. I think you'd see, because it's not like they've not tried to tank either. Like they've signed some guys from college. They've brought some people in that are brand new to the team, and they're just playing okay. You know, they're playing well. So it's like I don't even blame them necessarily for winning. It's just more like. And like if you see some of this, right, some of it is what you're saying, right, the lack of effort from other teams and what have you, but at the same time you're like, okay, like there's something here, clearly, right?
Yeah.
It's just about time we actually start seeing it on a consistent basis, right? They obviously extended Howard too, so it's just like, ugh,
I guess it's more just like I'm interested to see, one, where we end up in the after the lottery or
Right.
whatever, and once we get pulled out and where we're drafting at,
Yeah.
and then two, how we start next year.
Yeah.
Because if we start next year winning 8 of 10
Yes.
instead of
Yeah.
ending the season that we're already out of winning 8 of 10, then you're looking at a different story. You start out 8-2 and you're like on fire then.
Right.
But as of right
Yeah,
now,
and
I don't want to win. I want to tank.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying.
Pretty much,
I feel
yeah.
like you can't be half. You can go half and half in tanking. It's either you're going to tank
Yeah,
or you're going to go try
embrace
and
the suck.
win. I mean, look at the
suck,
Sixers. They embraced the suck for like 3 years, and now they're
Yeah, they're going to playoffs,
they're
right.
guaranteed to be in the playoffs. So like, I guess it works.
I'm with you.
sometimes.
It'll be interesting to see who they draft and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we'll hit on that in a future episode. Let's hit the hardwood now. We're talking Michigan State Final Four run. We're not going to be able to talk about the Final Four game because as of this recording, they haven't played yet. So obviously, if they make it to the finals, we may do a quick hitter for the national championship or anything like that. But it's always the road to the Final Four. State, I feel, and I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to say my opinion first, though. They knocked off Duke to get to the Final Four. I don't know of a bigger win for Michigan State since in a long time. I mean, I know they've gotten to other national championship games before. I know they lost to North Carolina. They lost to Duke a few years ago in the Final Four. But they beat Duke, who Izzo historically is terrible against. They're terrible against Coach K. To get there, they were the underdogs. They're playing a good Texas Tech team, but this was a huge win. I don't know many people, even with the way Duke was playing going into that game, escaping both Virginia Tech and UCF, I don't think a ton of people were like, Michigan State's got them. Like, straight up got them. They had a great chance to win, but I don't think enough people will be like, yes, I'm going to say Michigan State's going to win.
I don't think anyone could have gone into that game confidently.
Right, exactly.
I think me and you both were kind of like, they
match up well.
They match up well, they can, but like, I think if you ask any person that, like, if you ask 100 people, I would say about 97 of them would be like, Duke's gonna win.
Right.
Like, if you had to put like $5,000 on,
we'd say they play them close. They play them really tight up until the end, but then that Duke would somehow pull it away.
If it were like me and you, just like stating a fact or whatever, we could be like Michigan State. I think if you ask people to like, hey, you're gonna bet $5,000 on this game, who's gonna win?
Right.
I don't think anybody takes Michigan State because no one.
Does that mean for you though? I mean, is there a bigger win since their 2000 national championship win that is as impactful right now? I know a few years ago when they made that other Final Four run with Valentine that it was kind of unexpected. This year was a little more expected that they would get to the Elite Eight, but not to beat Duke. I mean, honestly, I don't think anybody really thought they had a chance until, like, in all seriousness, you can be a big fan of Michigan State and understand, okay, Duke's Duke for a reason, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm extremely impressed with this basketball team. I'm really happy for them.
It's interesting because they do a Patriots style game where they find a way somehow. It's a different way every single time.
Yep.
They don't win the same game twice.
Yep.
They play Bradley and they're down at halftime and they come back and they fight inside and they do mid-range shots. Then you're playing Minnesota. They stopped the 3-point. Yep. Minnesota shot like 2 for 100. It felt like in that game.
Right.
And State was on fire. Right. And then they play Duke. And they're picking and rolling with Cassius Winston the whole game.
And they're forcing them to take outside shots, knowing that they can't shoot.
So they find, offensive and defensively, they find different ways to win. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually very impressed. Going in, I thought, going into the Big Ten tournament, I thought Michigan could have their number. after watching how this team's been playing,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, there's no way we would ever match up. Like,
no.
I think if we played them 10 times this year, Michigan might win one.
Right.
It's
Honestly,
like odds
The-
how
the
good they are right
shooting
now.
and everything else, absolutely. Is that the biggest reason why they're in the Final Four, though, is their ability to adapt based off of who they're playing, right, and change the way they win. Being able to look at a weakness the same way New England does in football, where they go, oh, okay, well, we're going to make Jared Goff throw, right? We're going to make Zion and RJ shoot the basketball because they can't shoot the basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watching that game, two things stuck out to me. Number one, Michigan State defensively, they busted their ass. And two, I don't understand the love why people think Zion is a top 20 player in the world. I don't understand.
I don't
understand that either.
I think he's the best. He's probably a top 3 player coming out of going into the draft.
Right, but
obviously.
I don't think he goes to any basketball team and makes them immensely better.
I think right now I
can
can name 25 people in the NBA that are way better than him.
Exactly.
Like I think he'll come in if he goes to say the Knicks.
Yeah.
And Knicks, we'll talk about later. But if they don't get anybody and it's just him, they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're screwed.
I
agree. That's what I'm saying. I was not. I mean, Zion does what he does, right? He's an athletic freak. I get that. But him and RJ Barrett both down the stretch, for the most part, really kind of disappeared, right? They can't shoot the basketball, and offensively, they had nothing against what State was bringing, right? I thought Izzo coached a hell of a basketball game.
Yeah, and there's two things I actually noticed. One thing I actually thought about right when I saw those 3 guys sign is I think and this is something that someone like the Patriots don't have a problem with, but guys, I feel like the Rams, if you want to go football analogy, had a lot of problems with, is your star power.
Right.
Because when you sign the top 4 freshmen going into college on the same team, you have to get all of them the ball somehow.
Right.
So if you just had Zion with a couple really good guys, I think that team actually is better than what it would be with him, RJ, and all these guys.
Yeah.
Because you have all these 5-star guys that are going to be going to NBA next year, and they all want to do their own thing.
Gel, there's nothing. It's just go out there and play and hope.
Yeah, you're like, okay, Zion wants his 40 points, but RJ also wants his 20 points, and this guy wants his 20 points, and the ball can't go around to all these guys.
Absolutely.
I think that was a problem. Also, their turnovers, they had 20 turnovers in that State game, and Zion had 5.
Yeah, and
what is going on?
I think, like I said, and we obviously we're talking about Duke more than State, but in reality, we're talking about why State was able to exploit some of these negatives about Duke, right? For me, Izzo really stuck, really kind of went, all right, listen, we know how to beat these guys, right? And he coached a hell of a game. Defensively, they played fantastic. Like you said, all the turnovers, right? They were smart with the basketball. Yeah. Winston is still, is playing out of his mind. You know what I mean? Even when he's not scoring efficiently, he's still being a distributor. He's finding the open guy. I think that, they're riding this big wave. I mean, for Izzo, right now with this run, how important is it for him to win this second national championship? Whether it's this year or in the next, couple, because Winston might be leaving. You have some guys that are going to be going. I mean, how important is it for him?
I think as people are State fans, I think I would actually be very nervous because I think you almost have to win now.
Yeah.
Because you hit LSU, who's a great team, you beat them. Then you hit Duke, who everyone has, I think 76% of brackets had Duke winning.
Right.
And then you beat Duke. Now you're going to be playing Texas Tech, who's
another Cinderella story right now.
A Cinderella story that's not Duke. And then you're probably going to play, I'm going to probably, if I had to cast my vote, probably Virginia or Auburn.
Right.
You have to play both those, or one of the 3 other teams or whatever, but you were the best team left.
Right.
I think almost far and away. I think Virginia's there, but you're the best team left.
Yeah.
If you somehow drop the ball against Texas Tech or something, I think that's massively awful for Izzo.
Yeah.
So come off Duke, beat Duke, and then you lose Texas
Tech. It's funny that you say that though, because it's almost the Michigan college sports way. Whether it's State or Michigan, they always figure out a way, a lot of times, to blow it in the worst possible situations, right? Michigan is very
like Michigan football, you get through the whole regular season and you're like, wow, you're 11 and 0.
Right.
You're about to get there, then you lose to Ohio State. Now your whole season's crushed.
Right, exactly.
It's that kind of thing where you're looking at that and you're like, Michigan State's gone through Duke. You've gone through LSU.
You won the Big Ten tournament. You won the Big Ten regular season championship. You've got all these things
you beat
now.
Michigan 3 times.
Right, leading up to this moment, and then if you drop the ball here,
I think it's worse. for Izzo.
And do you think if they win against Texas Tech but lose to Virginia or Auburn, for whatever reason, right, do you think that hurts him just as much? Because that'll be another national championship win or game that they've made it to that he hasn't won.
I think if you lose to Virginia, it's not as bad because Virginia's technically ranked the best team.
Right.
Like they were the number one seed.
Right.
Duke was number 2. So if you look at it through that lens, I guess you're kind of.
I mean, the season's already a success. Don't get us wrong, right?
No.
The season is a tremendous success.
I just think that if Izzo doesn't win this one, I think it's a big ball drop.
Right.
It's like everyone wants Harbaugh to leave now because Michigan can't get it done. If Izzo doesn't win this one, even though I think they're by far the best team left, you kind of drop the ball on this one because you have this one.
Right.
This one's like basically it's like right here.
Go get it.
Like it's just like take a couple more steps to go grab it.
I'm still waiting. You know, Michigan State's playing so well right now, but for whatever reason, right, I'm still waiting for that bad. And maybe that was that Bradley first half where they had to get it out of their system before they kind of went on this tear. But like, you know, it's like that coming off the big Michigan win and then they lose to Indiana, and you're like, where the hell?
Yep.
Where did that
I think
come
I'm
from?
nervous
You
for
know
this
what I mean?
Texas Tech game because that defense is so smothering and stuff.
Low key, I would not be mad at all if Texas Tech won the whole thing because it's just such an out of the way.
Or Auburn. I think Auburn would.
I would say Auburn if they didn't have Bruce Pearl as a coach because I think he's a total douche. But
you can't use that word.
I'm sorry. He's a not so friendly person in my opinion.
Okay.
And I think he's way too animated. Texas Tech to me, it's just like, oh, who won the national championship in basketball in 2019? That's the best trivia question ever because no one's ever gonna guess Texas Tech ever. Like it's the one thing we'll be alive for and be like, oh yeah, Texas Tech, but nobody else is ever gonna remember that. So I'm very interested to see. Obviously, if they make it further into the tournament, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. They make the national championship. If they lose, we'll kind of go on a season outlook, I'm sure too. But hell of a run for Michigan State either way. A tremendous victory for Izzo. Another feather in the cap. Just get it done at this point. We're all, at the end of the day, we may be Michigan fans here on the show, but we can still respect the fact that what they're doing is pretty phenomenal.
I want State to win.
Right, exactly.
I think it's nice for the state of Michigan to have one national championship from either college or a pro.
Go get the ship and be done with it. Absolutely. All right, we're going to hop into our final topic of the show. We're going to end a little bit of controversy here. John Oliver talking about WWE, professional wrestling as a whole. Obviously, this past weekend was WrestleMania. Mike, we literally just watched this again in preparation for the show. I have some thoughts on it. I know you do too. Give me your thoughts on his comments about the WWE. Now, let me frame this for the people too. If you haven't seen this, guys, basically John's big thing is there's a couple points. One, it's basically telling the WWE that you need to step up. There needs to be some the wrestlers are not independent contractors as they're being treated now. There needs to be health care made available to them. There needs to be, family and injury leave. There needs to be, workers' compensation. All those things that currently are not part of the WWE corporate structure. All professional wrestlers signed to the WWE are technically independent contractors. So even though they're paid if they get hurt in the ring, that doesn't necessarily mean, that they're paying for post-ring medical bills. And he brought up some wrestler deaths as well as how, professional wrestling, there's a correlation there between, younger death rates compared to the professional wrestling as well. So Mike, just give me your thoughts on the piece. I thought it was funny for one thing, but I did have some problems with it as well. So give me kind of your thoughts on it, and then we'll go into mine and we'll kind of talk here.
It was actually really depressing watching it.
Right,
watching he's like Roddy Piper was like I'm not gonna live to 65, and then he was like, he died at 61. And I was like, all this stuff's really sad. I do have ways. I want to get your take because I think I have ways that it's possible to fix this whole situation. But overall, they added the comedic aspect to it, but I think it was very depressing, and it really gave a big outlook that not a lot of people knew about. That WWE is doesn't give you healthcare, doesn't give you this stuff that's guaranteed. Hey, you injure something, good luck, kind of thing. I think what's your take on it? Because it's kind of awful.
Here's the thing. It's a two-edged sword, really.
Yes.
On the one hand, obviously, they do sign up for this at the end of the day, right? And I do agree with him, and it's not the responsibility of the fan to pay for these guys, right? Post-ring career. Do I think that there should be some sort of fund or something post-career-wise? Yes, but then you get into the situation where there's got to be a service time allotment, right? If you sign for a month, I don't really feel like I need to care for you for the rest of for the rest of the time. So there's certain things that need to be put in place. However, I do feel like the piece, while was informative, hard hitting, and I do think really does bring and shed some light to several real issues with the sport as a whole. Couple things that I had a problem with. Number one, some of the use of the examples of wrestler deaths that he used, I didn't think were very suitable to this conversation. Macho Man Randy Savage died of a heart attack behind the wheel of a car. That's not professional wrestling's fault. You know what I mean? King Kong Bundy was overweight his entire life. You know what I mean? There's certain things that, he died early. Piper at one point had cancer. I mean, he beat it, but there's other medical issues, that, Eddie Guerrero died at an early age. Yes, but that's not, his drug use under WWE's watch was not, it wasn't prevalent, you know what I mean? And he was let go and he cleaned himself up, and, it was from years of professional wrestling as a whole, not just WWE. So I think it's unfair for people to point the finger specifically at WWE for some of these guys, because, in a lot of those cases, it's not necessarily okay. Well, we're promoting this and everything else like that. And but I do agree that the culture of professional wrestling is we got to be there. You're gonna lose your spot. It's totally prevalent. Everybody in the world said that. Do I think that they need health care, and do I think that they need these precautions and these extra incentives to be because you are contracted to the company? Absolutely. I thought some of the comments and the clips they took from individual different things, whether it's the Wrestling from Shadows documentary with Bret Hart in it, the HBO's thing with Piper, the context behind those, and that's how all media is, but I do feel like I need to get it out of there anyway, is you pulled out very specific snippets of things. The Wrestling with Shadows documentary, it was shot during the time where Bret was screwed in the Montreal Screwjob, one of the biggest things that's ever happened in this industry. Piper, during that time, 5 months later, was brought back to the company. So it's one of those things to where I understand there's some negative feelings towards them, but at the same time, those guys that you're referencing also made millions and millions of dollars from this industry. You know what I mean? There's a give and take there. I just wish that while they did provide some support for the WWE and what they're doing, I feel like they could have added some other things to be like, all right, but let's put this in context, right? Because it's not about those guys. It's about the guys that are broken down, that are beaten, you know what I mean, and don't have any money because they weren't responsible to money. Do I think WWE, if you have a certain amount of service time, should definitely take care of their guys? Absolutely. They're not paying for everything, but there should be some sort of fun. But to suggest that wrestling is, or that the WWE is solely responsible for individuals' actions at the same time, is tough. That's my toughest sell. I agree with what he's saying 100%, that changes need to be made, but I'm not going to go out and say, all right, well, Vince McMahon is directly solely responsible for somebody dying at the age of 61.
You can't say
that was my only gripe with it. Give me what changes do you think they should make?
Okay, well, I was thinking, and the problem with WWE to other promotions is they run on the weekly basis shows. They're not pre-taped or anything. So you're looking at stuff like Ring of Honor, where they have like a 3-show span, then they'll take a month off and stuff. And guys can go to wherever they want, work as much or as little as they really want. Right. Where WWE, they kind of force your hand. Onto,
they're on a schedule. Right.
Yeah, they're on a schedule. You have to work these 4 days and work the show or blah, 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 blah.
Absolutely.
But as they mentioned in the show, you have about 220 guys that are like on their independent or on their list of people or whatever, and it seems like, to me at least, I see the same 40 faces on and off, and there's over 100 guys not being used on TV, not being used on some of these shows. Absolutely. I feel like if you have the ability, instead of using the same 4 guys in the same matches every single week over and over and over, give this one guy a break, maybe just have him have a promo and have another guy fill a spot. Like, instead of having Seth Rollins fight 4 weeks in a row, have Rollins come out for a promo and then have Dean Ambrose come out for him instead and fight Tyler Breeze or something, and give us, because it brings up new matchups, it brings out, so now guys aren't just like every single day working. I think you should be able to give guys time off. Like, if they're not going to be used for 3 months, be like, hey, just go home. You know, we don't
Rest
need you
up.
for these 3 months.
Yeah,
rest up, and we'll bring you right back
Mhm.
as soon as you want, as soon as low as you want. Like they should have that in their contract.
Right.
somewhere.
I mean, yeah. I think there's some definite modifications, right, that I think need to be made. The year-round schedule, right, is one of the badge of honor for the company, right,
Yeah.
and for the wrestlers is that we don't have an off season. That's why, and I think some of the reason why you have to deal with some of this is because of the negative kind of reaction that many people associate with with professional wrestling, right? Is that a lot of times it's looked at, and even in the John Oliver piece, right? At the very end, it's like, I'm telling the fans to champion this, right? But then you go and you almost insult the fans by making a joke and making a quote-unquote wrestling promo about calling that, right? I feel like those kind of things, for me, kind of drive, send a negative message to me as a fan, because it's like, listen, I understand that you may look down upon it for one reason or another, but it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you don't understand it or you're not a fan of it and you think it's one thing, doesn't necessarily mean that that we have to take a shot. I'm also not really thrilled with the timing of this, because it is WrestleMania, so that's why everyone's talking about it right now, is because of that. I understand it, but if you really wanted to get your point across, which is a valid point, once again, I'm going to continue to say that, you could have made it at any point in time. It's not like this is new, right? It's been going on for 30 years.
And the thing about WWE is they can't have, I don't feel like they can ever get an off season, because I feel like there's a point of fans, and especially because they have big shows like SummerSlam. They have shows almost 3 months, every 3 months of the year. They have their big 4. But you can't have an off season, because for me, as a big sports fan, I wasn't always the biggest baseball fan.
Right.
So summer was like, I would always have WWE hard. I'd watch every show and stuff.
There's different,
there's different seasons. If people are not big football fans, and football's the only thing going on from September to December, hey, I got wrestling to fall back on or something. Where, like, if you just go, hey, from September to December, we're just not going to do anything. Like, we're just going to take a hiatus for 4 months. Then you're going to lose that big majority of fans that watch during that time, or something like that.
So it's tough. I do think, like I said, I'm very interested to see where this goes, right? I know some people have been outspoken about it. Some former wrestlers have been very supportive of it. Do I think that they make good points? Yes. There's the healthcare perspective. Absolutely. I do think they should be able to do that. I think there's some changes will be made, but once again, to pin it all on one company or anything else like that just because of the last one standing really anymore, I think it's just a little bit unfair in that regard. So it's, we're on the side of the wrestlers. We always will be on the side of the wrestlers, just like we are as the players. You want to go get paid? We support the right that you want to go get paid, right? So
you just might not win ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
fine enough.
It is what it is, right?
We're
talking to you, Kevin Durant. We'll talk about that in the show. But all right, what's a little teaser for next week? But for the Burke Zone, I am the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka. That is going to be it for episode 19. Reminder, we are on social media. We are on Spotify, iTunes. Everything. We're on everything. iTunes, everything else. Every Monday, 7 a.m., every Wednesday at 7 a.m. We will see you guys, as always, next time.